affordable price with easy payments. Conference Room as a Service subscription-based products and services only from Wesco. Simple, reliable, flexible, secure, easy to budget.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling audio solution for AV conferencing. Because it mounts overhead, it provides more consistent sound quality throughout the room than an all-in-one soundbar mounted on the wall. The MXA902 has all three things needed for exceptional audio in small to medium-sized meeting spaces. First, there's an advanced array microphone with single-zone automatic coverage technology. It captures every participant in a 20 by 20 foot area right out of the box. Second, onboard IntelliMix DSP eliminates annoying echo and room noise and adjusts talker levels automatically. Everyone is heard clearly no matter where they sit. Finally, the MXA902 has a built-in wide dispersion loudspeaker that delivers robust sound throughout the room without the need for external speakers and amplifiers. Remote participants and program audio playback are easy to hear. With its revolutionary integrated design, the MXA902 is quicker to install than individual microphones, loudspeakers, and signal processors. One network cable with PoE Plus is all you need. The MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the ideal solution for AV conferencing in small and medium-sized meeting rooms. It's the fastest way to better sound.
If you're installing or troubleshooting network devices, you know that reliable operation depends upon the performance of the cabling and the network. With LinkIQ, you get cable testing from the world leader along with network testing. The LinkIQ can characterize the performance of your cable up to 10 gigabits per second. plus power over Ethernet testing that includes a load test to make sure the power you need is really there. When you're done, store the results, then document it with Linkware, the industry's de facto standard. LinkIQ, cable testing you trust and network testing you need.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the live show floor coverage from InfoComm here on AVIXA TV. If you're joining us on LinkedIn, if you're joining us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, there's a million different places. The Exchange, where we're going live right now. We are so excited to have you. The show floor is opening for day 2 here at InfoComm, and we can already see people flooding in. Yesterday was insane. Sam, what was your favorite part of the show yesterday?
Oh my gosh, just going to all of the different exhibits. They have a really one with view over there where you can drive in like a little, what was it, a Jeep?
It was a Jeep, yes.
It was a Jeep, and then they send you the video.
The virtual ride, Unreal ride, I think maybe is what it's called.
It was an unreal experience, so it made me look really good. So I suggest all of you, if you're here, to go and check that out. What about you?
Well, look, same deal. I love being able to walk around all of the different exhibits. I had a chance to go to the audio demo rooms, which is incredible. I love to hear some of the new beamforming technology that's coming across from a lot of different manufacturers and organizations. But Sam, what do we have on the show today?
We've got a really great show with a lot of wonderful guests. We're going to start off with one of our friends at Jupiter, who's going to give us some solutions for your mission-critical spaces. And what are you doing?
Then we're talking with Matt Lawrence. We're talking pro audio, paths of entry into the industry. Also, we're talking a little bit about houses of worship.
And then I have another few of my favorite colleagues at AVIXA who are going to be discussing the Exchange Live, where we are currently now, as well as the digital format. So, you want to go ahead and get this started?
It's time. Let's kick it off.
Let's do it. Once again on AVIXA TV. So with us today, we've got Sidney Rittenberg with Jupiter. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Jupiter's been creating large screen data and visualization experiences for over 40 years. In what ways are you seeing the 21:9 aspect ratio evolve?
It's eye-pleasing. It's our natural way of taking in visual information based on our human capacity. We see far more horizontal than we see vertical. And, we started learning about the vertical format in first grade when we step into the classroom on an expensive blackboard where the teacher moved from left to right, and we learned about the world and the wonders that way. So, and it's how Hollywood films are made in the old-fashioned cinema scope, where we're going to theaters. We pay money to see that format. So it's far more natural way for us to utilize the visual real estate than the traditional 4x3 box that started the TV set, and then now the 16:9, the broadcast format, and we're going to 21:9, and I think that's a natural progression.
I would agree, Sidney, and it's interesting, right? You step out onto the floor, you see a lot of people trying 21:9, right? You see some displays out there, but you guys have been doing this for a long time. What are some of the ways that you guys specifically have helped evolve and drive that technology forward?
Yeah, so we created the 21:9 format with the upstream partners. And when we decided we were going to go into displays, we invented the image processors 41 years ago. And we decided we process the information on display. So it's natural for us we manage the information on them. So it's natural for us to progress into the display itself. And 21:9, we didn't want to do a one-off. And as you mentioned, you know, we could go see there are some one-offs out there that copy a single dimension 21:9 in the midst of all the 16:9s that are all over the place. But we're dedicated. We're only 21:9. And to do that, you have to provide a full product lineup. You have to provide a solution, how to process 21:9, how to have it be compatible with all the existing enterprise setups out there. So we started working on the panels, the LCD panels in 21:9 format with the fab factories, what sizes is appropriate, it's economical, it's more attractive to the enterprise users. So we really give it a lot of thought in the development process. And this started long before anybody else had an understanding in 21:9. So.
And you said that it's economical, right? And our industry is really focusing on sustainability and the rise of green AV consciousness. So in what ways is Jupiter working to provide cost-effective and low-maintenance solutions for like mission-critical spaces?
Yeah, two different areas. One is green, you touched on, and the other one is economical in the sense of cutting the LCD panel is what I meant. How can you produce enough volume to really make it attractive? Instead of just a one-off, we sell it for 5 days. If it doesn't sell well, we have to go back to the 16:9 TVs. But as I said, we are really serious about 21:9. We're dedicated to 21:9. We go from the desktop to the large LCD panel offerings to now we're bringing out micro LED direct views, all in 21:9 expansion. So from small to large. On the green side, there's the economy of scale that we are hoping that we can help the whole industry grow into, to make it more and more economical, to change this format that we're so used to for the past 20, 30 years. On the green part, we definitely put into, since day one, green considerations in making sure manufacturing process is in line with our requirement, making sure the packaging process, the packaging materials that go into our product are all have a green consciousness, still being economically manageable. So we do have a lot of that built into our product.
Well, Sidney, let's talk about resolution for a second, especially when you think about 21:9 in applications like conferencing and collaboration, right? A lot of times when we're having video meetings, there's like 30 pixels allotted to someone's face, right? But obviously, as you continue to innovate in the space, what are some of the ways that you're driving resolution improvements, whether that's 5K, whether that's 8K, or even more down the road?
Yeah, resolution that's a great point because we make image processing. So driving 5K versus 4K is a little challenging, especially a lot of the driver boards. The processors don't do 5K. They do 4K and they can go up to 8K. But 5K is a unique format, 21 by 9. As far as enterprise use, it's far more natural for enterprise users because we deal with desktops, as in the computer desktops. We don't deal with broadcast streaming, which is embedded 16 by 9. So when you deal in a conference room, in an executive office, you deal with computer desktops. And desktops can manage different formats. So you bring up windows, however big, however small, however expensive you have, and multiple views on a 21 by 9 canvas is ideal. Because that's why we figure enterprise users is the first adapters, should be the first adapters to 21 by 9.
And from a messaging standpoint, we know digital signage is everywhere, right? And content is king. And how can users use, your solutions to really make sure that their messaging is coming across with various aspect ratios with the 21 by 9? So, because you really want to make sure that whichever digital signage platform that you're using is getting that messaging out there the right way.
Yeah, digital signage. So, 4K, we're adding pixels. We're not stretching images. If you go from 4K to a 21 by 9, you're literally stretching an image to make it more squeezed. But we're adding pixels. We're adding physical visual space into a display. So you have added space for information. You have added space for corporate messaging, for corporate signage. We deal with some of the top video conferencing platforms. So video conferencing platforms can certainly utilize more added space on the display for information, for chats during a video conference, for annotation, for file sharing. That's all a super welcome to an enterprise environment as far as signage and information processing is concerned.
Well, Sidney, when you think about the end user experience, right, at the end of the day, every AV company wants to provide a valuable experience for the end user. How have you seen the adoption of things like widescreen displays, even at a much smaller scale in an end user environment? How have you seen that drive adoption at the larger scale?
Yeah, super question. On the interactive side, that's what enterprises use. Interactive panels, you have touch functionality built into it. The screens are getting bigger and bigger. So when you get into larger screens, above 75 inch, you go into 85, 86 inch, or 98 inch these days. Imagine going up to a display and do the touch feature and the touch functionality of it. A short person touching the top, a tall person touching the bottom. It's not attractive. It's not pleasant, especially if you have a group of people in front of you, back facing. So 21 by 9 eliminates that unpleasantry. It allows you to naturally handle the entire height of the display, expanded display. That's one thing. And two is when you get into large panels, logistics is starting to get into a challenging negative factor. Handling a large display, we have 105-inch LCD glass, and we're bringing additional sizes too. We have 81, we're bringing additional sizes to the mix. But imagine carrying that into an elevator in an office building, going through the doorways. For 86-inch, that's already very challenging. Yep. If you go anything bigger, it's humanly impossible. You have to use machines to carry that. Our 21 by 9 can handle that. It gives you a giant visual canvas, and it can go into existing environments.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us. We really appreciate your time here. So thank you again, Sidney.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Well, so I had a really great talk with Afat Chaudhry, great AV influencer. So let's take a look at my little coffee talk with her. So, what celebrity annoys you the most and you would wish would go away? There's a lot.
That's a really cool question. I'm going to say the Kardashians And I'm saying that the reason I've paused is our A-lister celebrity in the AV industry, I renamed his surname Kardashian last night. And he quite liked it.
Artificial intelligence, to be feared or to be embraced?
I think embraced. There's no point fearing it. It's here, it's staying, and it's going to continue.
What is in your InfoComm survival kit? It's a long week, lots to do.
I have a vitamin pack to make sure that I start every day with something. It's the humidity and the dehydration. So for me, it's about hydrating and replacing some of the electrolytes and getting some vitamins along the way.
What's the best flavor in Skittles? At least that's something we can really.
It depends on my mood, but the green and the purple are up there for me.
See, I think I'm a little bit reversed. I think I like a yellow.
So we would get on. We could share a packet.
We could. Oh, and then we would each have our favorites, and then not
we won't fight.
Calories.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the first concert that you attended?
I'm showing my age now, but it was Michael Jackson. My sister got me tickets, and I went twice in the same tour.
That's way cool. Mine was the Spice Girls.
Okay, that works. So mine was an American artist, yours was a British artist. Exactly. So we're getting on well. That's good.
I think that was
like that.
What's one of your most fondest moments at InfoComm?
It is the networking and probably the tweet up. The feeling around the stand at that time, the buzz and the excitement. There was nobody without a big smile on their face. You know, everybody was just so pleased to be there and so pleased to see each other. So that was really, really good.
What's one of your favorite movies?
That's easy. My favorite movie of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, really?
It's I forced my children to watch it as soon as they were old enough because I'm an old girl. I have it on VHS and I have it on DVD as well. It just, it never ages for me.
What was your first job?
Working at the airport in passport control. So every summer through university, I worked at the airport and saw some great celebrities. Was shocked at how tall Stevie Wonder was. I had no, yeah.
If the zombie apocalypse happens, what skills do you possess that you think will keep you alive?
Oh, I don't know. I think I would probably just hide. I'm good at remaining calm outwardly. Inside, I will be panicking like hell.
Yes.
So
that would have been me on that plane. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, we're glad you're here. Can't wait to hang out at InfoComm.
So yeah, it will be good. It will be good.
Welcome back to our live show coverage. I need to shout out the AV Brits. If you're not following the AV Brits on Twitter, you absolutely have to. IFAD is crushing it, along with hundreds and hundreds of other people. Those of you in the UK and I don't know, Brexit or whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna, enjoy it. It's a fun follow. But this next segment, this next conversation we're having is one that I really, really have been looking forward to for a while. We've got Matt Lawrence on from AVID. Matt, you've got an incredible history, not only on the side of AVID from a hardware manufacturer to software developer side, but as an end user, which is a perspective that we don't hear enough of as a community. But you've also had the chance to tour with some incredible artists, tell some amazing stories. So let's start there, Matt. If you had 2 minutes of an elevator pitch to say, here's my story, lay it out, we want to hear it.
Lay it out, we want to hear it. All right, so I started conventional in a Hells Angels club.
As people do, yes.
No, it was I played in bands, and at 18 realized that the guy that was in the practice area of my band, I always wanted to change things and tune things, and then we played a show, and that show happened to be in a Hells Angels club. And I thought, wow, these guys have a soundboard that's behind a chain link fence, and it smells crazy in here. And I thought, this is my life. This is what I want. And I look back now and think that's crazy. But it was a little Mackie desk behind the fence, and I said, I want to do this, and the guy said, no, you don't. And eventually, I got him convinced to let me pick up the trash. And I did that for a couple years, and then moved to a 500 capacity club, learned more about the amps and the speakers, and I'm thinking to myself, it was like point source EAW, something in the early 2000s, I guess it would be now. And then one of my favorite bands came through. They were called Strung Out, an old punk band. I used to skateboard too. Said, hey, do you want to go on tour? And I said yes. And they said, well, we didn't tell you how much. Couldn't tell you how much. I said, I don't care. I just, yes, I'm in.
Pizza and travel.
So literally, I toured the world with my favorite band in a van, and we toured, Australia and Japan and everywhere else. So it was indoctrination of my favorite band, right? And then I started getting into. Let's see, it was a little bit bigger bands, eventually mixed in Lauryn Hill and Snoop Dogg and Fifth Harmony, Jimmy World, some other stuff. So it started getting me a platform to get into bigger PAs and bigger soundboards and more expensive soundboards and stuff like that. And I really realized that I love the soundboard. That's kind of where I'm at. And even when I was on tour, if it was a soundboard that somebody didn't know, I was always like, hey, let me show you what's going on. And so I had an opportunity back in my club days to do some interns and some training where, with people that were coming through. And so I always had this, I want to show people what I'm using, right? And then I eventually started mixing, that back then it was profiles and SC48s, DigiDesign stuff, into AVID. And then there was a time where I was able to go with the D-Live from Allen & Heath. And it worked great. And then there was a guy named Tim Schaefer who took me off the road and said, hey, do you want to become a sales manager? And I said, no, that doesn't make sense to me.
You don't want health care?
Well, So eventually he took me off the road and taught me some spreadsheets and some emails and kind of how to do things. And then an opportunity came to work for AVID. And I've been there for a little over 3 years now as the national sales manager of integration for the live sound division. So, was that 2 minutes?
I don't know. It was good though. I was very comprehensive.
We were engaged. So, just because I'm a big musician, or I used to sing, not very well, but
alto,
soprano.
Soprano. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So sometimes at dinners with colleagues, they hear a little here and there. But what was one of your favorite artists that you had worked with? And if you could share just a fun story of maybe an audio nightmare that you fixed.
Well, I toured for a good part of. I've been a sound engineer for a little over 22 years, but I toured for 18 of them or something like that. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of, there's stories of behind the desk and why, and then there's stories of, oh my gosh, I can't believe we were able to pull this off, right? And one of the stories that I love, Lauryn Hill is a very interesting artist. We'll call it PC, to work with. No, she's always late. There's just a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I will never forget the time when I was called to her dressing room and she said, I'm eccentric, right? And I said, yeah, well, I've seen that you're eccentric. That makes sense. And she said, well, I need all of the effects. And I said, all of the effects? Okay. So I had about 6 engines, right? 6 effects engines of slap, delay, reverb, plate, all the things, literally just for her vocal. Uh-huh. And there was a time when we would go into this pavilion and we'd go somewhere and she would start holding out a note, right? She would start just, beautiful voice.
Gorgeous, yeah.
All the things you hear about her, to each their own, mm-hmm. But she's a great singer, right? Just amazing. And so she would have a 16-piece band where she would calm everybody down and everybody would stop playing. And she would just hold out a note and I would, pull up my effects and it was just her and I. I'm literally getting goosebumps talking about it. It was just her and I talking, or she was singing and I was doing sound, and it was just her and I in the middle of an arena or a stadium or wherever we were at. And it was that moment where a sound engineer is doing what he's supposed to be doing, right? So that kind of stuff is what I think you tour for, right? And so that's one. And then, everybody asks, what was your favorite band to tour with? As I mentioned, I toured with my favorite band.
Yeah.
And it was small enough where we're sharing a van and, sharing hotel rooms and stuff like that with your favorite band. So that you can't beat that.
You can't beat that. Wow.
You know, Matt, one of the things, especially when you think about points of entry into the industry, is through live sound, right? Whether that's hobbyist, whether that's volunteering at a church, theater, wherever. So many people want to have those stories and they say, I want to go mix with Lauryn Hill or my favorite band, but they don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
But one of the beautiful things and one of the things I appreciate about you is we now have access to have conversations we couldn't have 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
What are some of the ways that you're seeing people not only gain access in the industry and learn and comprehend, but also people like you, how you can kind of reach down and help pull some of those people out?
Yeah, it was interesting. So obviously, how I got into it is not conventional, and as I was able to be at the second club that I was at, I was watching people come to me for their intern hours, right? And so it was interesting. Okay, then you can come to me, that's fine, and teaching them what I knew and how I knew it. And I remember some of my interns coming back to me and saying, do you remember late at night after a show, you would grab a drumstick and a snare drum and a microphone and you'd start hitting it and you'd turn the frequency, right? And then just, do you hear that? Do you hear that? So I don't know if there's I wouldn't say my teaching methods are conventional, but some of them are super successful. You know, some of them are out doing arenas and stadiums and setting up for ballparks as you know, an integrator. So whatever worked, but I think it's back to the passion, right? I love sound, period, and I have tools that make me enable me to run sound, right? And I think it's being able to have the platform, and you know, Ben and you and I were talking earlier. I volunteer at my church, right? So I have a church where on Sundays I go work out, and this church happens to have 3 S6Ls, right? Which is what I sell. That's what I do for a living. And so I know these desks inside and out, I hope, anyway. But there's 3 desks tied together, but it enables me to have 3 soundboards with multiple engineers, multiple volunteers that I can be able to train every week. So we have rehearsals on Tuesday, and then we have 2 services on Sunday. So I'm the only one who gets paid. And so we have volunteers from 12 to 65. Engineers who are just aspiring to do stuff, and we have engineers who are in the analog world coming back to digital, right? Or going to digital, if you will. Coming back to sound, that's what I was looking for. So the idea that I can take the moment to express how digital works, or how does a 4-band work, or how does a dynamic work. So yeah, being able to train and have the appropriate gear in the safe space to do it, right? Every church, if you say, hey, I want to come in and learn, they're not going to turn you away. And they're not going to shove religion down your throat, right? It's the idea that a space where you can come and learn about something that you're inspired to do.
Well, Matt, last question here. You know, when you think about the skill sets of people that are aging into the industry, they're far more advanced from a technical perspective than we were, right? Understanding not only concepts like EQ, learning through their DAWs or GarageBand or whatever, but also even on the video side, right? Understanding lighting best practices, rule of thirds. But what are some of those hard skills that you would say to those people listening today that say, hey, maybe it's over-undering a cable, but you need to learn these 4 or 5 things. It's great if you have the technical knowledge, but you've got to have some of these things to bring with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of how it's grassroots and being able to hands-on, right? And I think that there's anything, do I dare say driving a video game, or driving in a video game and actually driving, it's kind of the same concept, right? Being there, being able to go, you know, hear what feedback is like. You can read about feedback all day long, but until you hear a mic hit a speaker and hear the squelch, you're not going to understand what feedback is, right? So there's a few things, you know, being able to be around when the signal flow is there, being able to actually see where a sub-snake goes from here to here, the things that I teach, and I think the idea of going through those practices. What does gain structure look like? What is high-pass filter? What does it actually do, though? Can you hear it? Not read about it, but hear it. If you take a high-pass and you go all the way up to 1K, you're not going to get much out of that microphone, right? But why do you use it? Those kind of things.
Matt, Lawrence, always great to have you on the show. We appreciate you joining us. Have a great rest of your InfoComm show.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, look, we brought back the most popular segment of last year's show, which is probably not true, but I'm going to pretend it is because it's called BenfoComm, which is the shirt that I'm wearing. Look, it kind of profiles my antics around the show after, maybe the doors close a little bit. Check out what happened last night after the show.
everybody, welcome to this year's version of InfoComm. One of the things I love to do every year at the show is go see what's happening around town. If you can tell behind me, this year we're going to Universal, baby. Let's go check it out. Turns out the only thing that's universal is chain restaurants, apparently.
Right foot, 2 steps. Left foot, 2 steps. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Cha-cha, real smooth. Oh, that's right. Now turn on.
This is Alicia Henley. There is probably none cooler. This is what I model everything I do after, kind of. So, what's up? Good to see you.
Hey, what's going on, Ben? Always good to see you, my brother.
What are you most excited about seeing at the show this year?
Well, first of all, Sennheiser just dropped TC bars.
Look, you just commandeered my show. This is about me. This isn't about you.
Come on, man. It's all about the networking, engaging with people, making new memories, making new friendships, making new contacts. That's why I always come.
In all seriousness, I love this girl, man. She's one of my favorite people in the world. We appreciate all y'all watching. Look, be sure to watch next time for InfoComm. Look, we'll see if it's funny. I don't know. It's fun. It's a good time. Y'all have fun.
How do you come back from that?
You don't. You don't. That's the real answer.
Well, we appreciate you trying. So A for effort. Well, now we're joined with some of my favorite people at AVIXA. We've got Sam Minish and Sanj Surati. Thank you both for joining. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's really nice to be here.
So Sam obviously has a great name. So we've got that in common.
Squared.
Yeah, Sam squared. We walk around like that, like this. Sam and Surati, you have been integral in getting the Exchange Live up and running, as well as AVIXA TV. So, and if it wasn't for, some of your brainchild and some of your thoughts and a wonderful team at AVIXA, people online right now wouldn't be able to watch us right now, and as well as be in the audience here. So can you tell us a little bit more about AVIXA TV?
Yes, so this is something that started in some form or fashion several years ago. It was the brainchild of several different really brilliant people, and if I tried to name them, I would forget several, I'm sure. And so it's been a work in progress for a long time. I think, as we all know, during the pandemic, the world changed and access changed. And so when it came back to coming to an event in person again, we knew that there's always going to be people who can't travel to the show. And so we wanted to make sure through the live stream that we were able to connect with them and provide that accessibility and be able to experience everything, maybe give a little bit of FOMO. So that they're encouraged to come next year. And then the great thing about AVIXA TV is it's not just this live stream. Obviously, this is a big act to follow, especially with cowboy hats.
Yeah.
But we also have programming all year long. We've done some incredible case studies around the world. The team has been able to feature programs in Barcelona and in Germany and Las Vegas. We also have been highlighting some really cool products and projects in higher ed, which has been really great. And we've got some amazing explainer videos online. I don't know if you've ever seen video bandwidth explained with mountains of Skittles, but if you haven't, you have to check that out.
Got to check that out.
Well, Sanj, one of the things that I love about the AVIXA Exchange is it gives people like us an opportunity that aren't AVIXA employees specifically to have a voice, right? Whether that's through podcasts, whether that's through hosting shows like this. We have a chance to speak up and have a voice in the industry. How impactful has that been for you?
Oh, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, just working in AV for about almost 30 years now, the tools to communicate with different businesses, to partner with them, to collaborate, haven't been there. And the great thing about the exchange particularly is people are starting to talk about things that they never would have talked about before. The AVIXA Exchange Live yesterday, we had people coming to us talking about some of the problems within the AV industry which they didn't know existed. So to have them kind of focus on it and talk about it and actually communicate with people that they've never spoke to before has been really enlightening for them. But also for us, like, AVIXA, the company, seeing those conversations, actually seeing things that we never thought about. We wouldn't have seen any of that if it wasn't for the platform. So I feel like it's quite liberating, actually. Yeah, definitely.
And for the people watching at home, can you discuss a little bit, what is the Exchange Live where we currently are? So just tell them a little bit about what they're missing, and hopefully they can come check it out next year.
Yeah, I'll start, but Sanj, as our host, is probably the best to help out there. What we're really trying to do is the Exchange all year long is this digital platform, and for that engagement and being able to have these conversations, but we know that we want to have these conversations in person too. Sometimes you can break down context in a completely different way, just having a face-to-face conversation with somebody. So what we really wanted to be able to do is sort of break the barrier between presenter on stage and audience, right? The audience is as much a participant on Exchange Live as the presenters are. It gives people a good chance there. We're featuring a lot of speakers who are in education sessions or in the technology innovation stage. And so you can have a much more intimate conversation with those folks and dive deeper into some of these topics.
Yeah, and like the communities are growing. I mean, the exchange is only just over a year old. When it started, we had about 200 users, and now we've got like 13,000 AV professionals who see the value in the utility that it provides. People are communicating or basically going straight to the source when it comes to what it is that they're looking for with regards to support. It's been great tool for sellers who are selling like AV products or AV services, but it's also been a great tool for like buyers who are looking for specific things, because they can't just go on Google and search these things. They have to find the right trusted professionals and partners, and that's where the exchange helps them.
Sam, I think a lot of people, when they hear about the exchange, they think of it, it's another platform like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, whatever platform. But the reality is, it's kind of different, right? It's a publishing platform more than it is a social media platform. Talk about some of those core differences.
Yeah, I mean, we really designed it. I mean, it's got a lot of sort of, the layout and the features are designed to be very instinctive, right? And so it does have some of those sort of experiential similarities to a LinkedIn, so that you know how to use it, what the buttons do, and where to find things. One of the key differences, honestly, is it is highly focused. It's for AV, and it's for those who work in and around AV as well, right? We've tried to make it very, very approachable for, there's obviously lots of conversations this week, especially on, is it AV, is it IT? And I think we all know they are one and the same in so many ways. And so there's so many that have called themselves IT professionals for the longest time, but they're doing AV work, and they're working with AV professionals and needing those services. And so being able to make that very accessible for them as well has been a huge part of everything we've done. So that's sort of the core there. You can really dive in, as Sanj was saying, like into the topics that are most interesting to you. You can ask a question of actual engineers who helped build products and find out more things. You can talk with others. Nothing's perfect. Some things have bugs, as much as we would like them not to have. And it really gives you that opportunity to dive into, well, how did you work through this? And I'm trying to install this thing, and I've got these crazy dimensions, and like I got to fit it into a corner, and they've got no walls. Like, how do I do that? And somebody else probably has done it, or will workshop it with you and help you figure that out.
You also need to think about the community as well. The AV community is a very buoyant community, not just with regards to how much money is being spent. And I mean, you look around, there's a lot of money being spent in the community, but also with regards to how burgeoning the technology is. I was talking to a really cool professional actually who's helping us here about where AV has come from and where it is now. And now it's one of the coolest industries to be in at the moment, because you're literally at the forefront of change with regards to visualization, broadcast, anything to do with live engagement. So to actually come to a community that come to a place that has that community where you can engage with those people, where there's no posturing or there's no kind of noise with regards to other things that are going around it, is really enlightening.
For sure.
And it's really taken off, it's its 1 year anniversary, and there's some, really great stats and numbers that you can share. But what do you see, what is next for the exchange? What can we expect to see?
It's continued growth. The exchange is designed for the AV community, and it needs to serve them. And so as the AV community is learning how they're navigating being digital, coming back to in-person events, and sort of that in-between, right? A lot of our business is now hybrid, and so that those digital components are absolutely core. We're expanding, we're adding new partners and new brands every single week that have amazing voices. We're also elevating a lot more individual voices, right? That, as Sanj was saying, right? These are folks who have dynamic things to say. They're really, really brilliant. And so being able to provide them that platform and grow that further is going to be a core part of what we're focusing on for the rest of this year.
And Sanj, what would you say to those folks who maybe are newer to the industry, feel like they want to create, they want to become creators, publishers, subject matter experts, and the exchange is a good place to do that? How would you suggest they get started?
It's a really good question. So there are lots of new sort of bloods coming into the AV space, and I think the frustration for them is like, how do I communicate with these people that I want to learn from, but also these people that inspire me? And I think the exchange is the place to do that, because you're connecting with people that no one gets to connect with in this space. So I think that's the first step. But the second step is also to collaborate with them, to talk to them and say, like, how can I add value to what you're doing? Because all of us in the AV industry, the ones that are successful are problem solvers, because there are so many problems, when you're working with AV for various reasons. And this new blood that's coming into the sector can help with that. So it's about enabling them to communicate with each other.
Well, look.
Well, most importantly,
last question.
Most importantly, how can people access the exchange? We need that information.
For sure. For anybody who's here, come by the AVIXA Exchange Live booth. We've got programming all day today, all day tomorrow. We've got some really exciting speakers. Booth 4461. But if for anybody playing the home game, exchange.avixa.org is nice and easy. We've set it up so that you don't have to have an account in order to be able to consume this information, right? There's a lot of, to your point, Ben, there's so many great content creators that are out there that aren't necessarily your traditional content creators. We've got great media partners on there for sure, but you've got some really unique individual voices, and you can engage with that completely on your own without that. And then if you want to start asking questions, it's a really simple process to get set up. And then you're off to the races, and it's completely free and open for everybody to contribute and add their voices to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Sam and Sanj, we appreciate you coming on. Obviously love the exchange. I'm a big fan myself. Highly encourage you, if you're checking out the exchange, don't just consume it. Actually try to create some stuff, because you have insight that is incredibly valuable. I promise you, people want to hear from you. People want to listen to what you have to say. Some things that I want to hear what people have to say are showcased in one of the newest AVIXA TV shows, and that's called How They Do That. One of the things I've always been I say always, it's been like 5 years since this technology has kind of come out really at scale, but it's drone shows. I love drone shows, and I'm not afraid to show it. So I asked the question, how do they do that? So we did an episode on it. Check it out.
Race cars, country music, and hot chicken. Now that sounds like a great weekend. The Ally 400 at the Nashville Superspeedway is always a must-see event for NASCAR fans. Although AV technology was all over race day, event organizers wanted to take that a step further. And for that, they called in the team at Pixis to help light up the sky.
Clients come to us for one of three reasons. They want to tell a story, they want to make a big brand mark in the sky, or they want to celebrate something. This particular client wanted to celebrate and bring a brand to life at the Ally 400 and also support the track in promoting the event.
Aerial drone shows are quickly becoming one of the fastest growing AV experiences around. But coordinating flying objects into shapes and pictures in the sky can be really complicated. So where does the team at Pixis begin?
We start with just an understanding of who they are, what their brand is, and why they've chosen this point in time to bring something to life. We give them a storyboard. After that, we say, okay, great, let's make them move. And we do some micro animations for each of those images. And then at the end of the day, we give them a full show. So no one goes into their shows with any confusion on what's going to be in the sky. You get to see it fully formed with music or without right before it flies.
With the creative approved, the project then moves into production, where one of the first tasks is working with local authorities to secure a location for liftoff.
If we do have the time, then we go, well, where is the people? What is our background? Nashville, we got super lucky because the city at night is so beautiful.
Our biggest issue when it came to flying this show was that we were in downtown Nashville. There's not a lot of places where you can fly without someone being in your security radius.
There was a bridge with people on it, there was a street, there was a stadium. So we had invisible walls all around us that we cannot cross.
While the team worked to secure a location, pilots and technicians scheduled practice runs to ensure that everything runs smoothly before the show, including a peculiar process that might make you dizzy.
The Pixis dance. So a lot of these shows, we just got back from 2 other locations in different states. We bring them back here, we have to calibrate them so they know where they're located at.
It involved spinning with the drone and twisting it and calibrating all the compass in the drones.
Calibrating the drones can take hours depending on the size of the show. And that's just the first step. Assuming that no one has gotten sick from all that spinning, the ground control station then goes to work.
The GPS sends the GPS coordinates to each of the drones. So we use Wi-Fi for that, and then we have a backup, which is our telemetry. Then we usually start with our calibration. We'll create the grid, and we spray paint, or we'll use washers to set things out. And after that, we start a calibration. Once our calibration is done, we'll go through and we'll start loading the show parameters into the computer. So each drone has its own parameter. It knows I'm going to fly this way. This drone knows it's going to fly this way.
Once practice was complete and a prime location secured, it was finally time to give the Music City a show it would never forget.
This was flown from Nissan Stadium with sightline all the way down Broadway. So everyone who was out that night saw a drone show, and you could just hear people were like, that's awesome. It was great branding. It also ran in June, so they were able to showcase a lot of their ERG and diversity components. We used their Truth Mark, which had a Pride wash done to it.
Aerial drone shows have come a long way in a very short period of time. So what else could the future hold for this cutting-edge technology?
I think the indoor space is something that's really untapped. Finding kind of indoor swarms so that you're seeing this live at a sporting event or somewhere else, I feel like that might be the next iteration.
Oh my God, we're not even scratching the surface. We are not even scratching the surface. 10 years from now, you will see drones with lasers. You will see drones making TV screens. We're just at the very, very, very beginning of this technology.
To check out more episodes of how they do that, subscribe and follow us on social media. And if you know of an amazing AV experience we should feature, email us at video@avixa.org. Middle school picture smile?
Yes. Terrified.
All right, ready?
That's the one thing that we're really good at AVIXA is making sure we capture our friends on blooper reels. But that was just one example of amazing piece of content that you'll continue to find on AVIXA TV. So continue to check us out. So I think we had another good show, Ben.
Look, can't argue with it right there. We've got 2 more left. One upcoming this afternoon at 12:30 Eastern Time. We've got Media Resources. We've got Fluke. And we've got ViewSonic coming on later this afternoon, having some incredible conversations. We encourage you to stay tuned as we continue our live coverage of InfoComm here at AVIXA TV.
If you're installing or troubleshooting network devices, you know that reliable operation depends upon the performance of the cabling and the network. With LinkIQ, you get cable testing from the world leader along with network testing. The LinkIQ can characterize the performance of your cable up to 10 gigabits per second and troubleshoot problems fast. When it's time to connect to the network, LinkIQ shows you the switch name and IP address, the port number, speed, and VLAN. It also shows the IP address of the switch and performs a connectivity test to an IP address of your choice. Plus Power over Ethernet testing that includes a load test to make sure the power you need is really there. When you're done, store the results, then document it with Linkware, the industry's de facto standard. LinkIQ, cable testing you trust and network testing you need.
The Microflex Advance MXA902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the first complete ceiling audio solution for AV conferencing. Because it mounts overhead, it provides more consistent sound quality throughout the room than an all-in-one soundbar mounted on the wall. The MXA902 has all 3 things needed for exceptional audio in small to medium-sized meeting spaces. First, there's an advanced array microphone with single-zone automatic coverage technology. It captures every participant in a 20 by 20 foot area right out of the box. Second, onboard IntelliMix DSP eliminates annoying echo and room noise and adjusts talker levels automatically. Everyone is heard clearly no matter where they sit. Finally, the MXA 902 has a built-in wide dispersion loudspeaker that delivers robust sound throughout the room without the need for external speakers and amplifiers. Remote participants and program audio playback are easy to hear. With its revolutionary integrated design, the MXA 902 is quicker to install than individual microphones, loudspeakers, and signal processors. One network cable with PoE Plus is all you need. The MXA 902 integrated conferencing ceiling array is the ideal solution for AV conferencing in small and medium-sized meeting rooms. It's the fastest way to better sound.
The industry has evolved over the years. Analog to digital, isolated to network, server-based to cloud-based, but fundamental pains persist. Rolling out hundreds of rooms quickly and reliably is difficult, time-consuming, and expensive. Complex equipment frustrates staff, managers, and executives alike. The recent shift to hybrid offices has organizations considering replacement of outmoded systems. They're looking for simple, reliable, flexible, secure, and easy-to-budget video conferencing solutions. It's time for a totally new approach. It's time the AV industry met the Internet of Things. Introducing Conference Room as a Service, subscription-based products and services only from Wesco. A subscription that scales and works for your business. Together, with your preferred AV installer, we help you choose the right size system for your meeting spaces, small rooms, medium-sized rooms, and large conference rooms. Once you've chosen the size room you want to deploy, choose Zoom or Microsoft Teams and add options like bring your own device and a monitor if needed. Then choose how many rooms you want to add to your subscription. It's that easy. Once your AV integrator has installed and activated your equipment, your Conference Room as a Service subscription has you covered with advanced replacement, an industry-leading warranty, live 24/7 world-class help desk support, and a portal for remote monitoring and service tickets. With this service, all rooms are online and ready to go once connected to the network. It's never been easier to deploy, monitor, and evolve your workplace technologies, all at an affordable price with easy payments. Conference Room as a Service subscription-based products and services, only from Wesco. Simple, reliable, flexible, secure, easy to budget.